here's my other set of shelves, and these I just put up last week, and they're amazing. This is just actually a wire shelving unit that I got from Costco. What I did is I have a shelf up there that has quite a lot of space. On the bottom here, again, a lot of space, but then these middle shelves, they don't have that much space because you don't need a lot of space when you are germinating seedlings, when the seedlings are only like 2 or 3 inches tall or 4 inches tall. That's all the space you need. And a lot of times at that point, they're headed outside anyway. So I thought I would make better use of this shelving unit by doing the 3 kind of shorter ones. That gives me an extra 4 to 8 trays that I can put on the shelving unit. And then also having the larger ones at the bottom and at the top. And my other grow light also has much larger spacing in between the shelves and the lights. And the lights I'm using, I actually got 2 kinds of lights because I wasn't sure what kind of light I would need. So I got these guys here, which are kind of individual lights, and they come in packs of 12. I think I got it in a 12 pack. And so these are individual lights, and they're just zip tied basically to that top shelf. And as well, I got these guys here, and these are a set of 2 lights. So it's a 2 light fixture. And so I put 2 of these 2 light fixtures here on these shelves. So I have a couple of shelves with the 2 light fixtures, and the other shelves have these individual ones where I've put 4 on each shelf. And so far, so good. They seem to be doing good. Okay, now back to the show and tell here under the grow lights. So these are the Snapdragons that I sowed. Let me see if I can take these out a little bit here. So these are the Snapdragons that I sowed, and you can tell which ones are the Potomac. Obviously, much taller than the other ones. All of the other varieties I'm growing are pretty much dwarf-ish sort of varieties. Really dwarf or dwarfish, like I said. Maybe some of the taller of the dwarfs are like, I don't know, 20 inches tall, that kind of thing. And I think one variety is even shorter than that. It's more of a 12-incher. I just potted them up into this 72 cell tray. So these are probably going to be going out very soon. Normally I wait to put most of my stuff out until closer to the last frost date, but I've gained a little bit of courage, I think, from Lisa Mason Ziegler's insistence that you can absolutely put these out several weeks before your last frost date. So I think I'm going to get up the courage and put them out there a lot sooner this year. So they'll probably be going out in another week or 2. Next are these. I have some lupins. I cannot remember the variety, but they are not doing bad. I've never had success with lupins. I've tried several times out in the garden. I've tried a couple of times indoors. This is the first time where I've actually gotten a plant, and not only one, there's like 4 of them in there. So I'm happy about that. Hopefully they don't really resent transplanting. That's my only concern. Back there are Nicotiana, and I have Bronze Queen and Perfume Mix. I have a bunch of others on another shelf that I put in kind of a big 20 cell tray, but these were sort of the leftovers of that. In front of this is another plant I'd never heard of, never grown before, and it's called, I think the pronunciation is Ptilotus. I will put that on the screen. So these as well, I had them in little 4 cell packs, and I potted them up to these 2.5-inch pots, and we'll see how they go. Here is more parsley, and I don't know why I don't have these together with the other ones. We have Coreopsis way back there, and there is some germination happening in those cells. Not a whole lot, but a good amount where I'm pretty happy with it. And American Dream, you can't really see from this angle, I don't think, but there is quite a bit of germination going on in that one too. That one I'm super excited about. That one is kind of a pinkish flower, so very excited about that. Then we have Foxglove, Candy Mountain. I grew this last year. It's actually in the garden this year. ready to bloom because it's a biennial. So last year I had a lot of foliage. This year I'm expecting blooms. This guy here will be all foliage this year, blooms the following year, so next year. So I'm actually hoping I'm creating a cycle where they self-seed. So the current year one will self-seed this year and come up as only foliage next year, and then this guy here will be blooming next year, and it'll kind of go on and on and on. Fingers crossed. This one here is another foxglove called Foxy. And this one here is called Monstrosa, and it is kind of a little bit of a monstrosity if you look at the flower. I may have a photo of that I can put on the screen, and it's just a curiosity. I'm not really sure I like it very much, but when I saw it, I thought, oh, that's super interesting. So I don't know. I don't know whether I will like it or not. I think I may not, but we'll see. I wanted to try it anyway. So here to the Salvia that not doing well. And this is Rose Rhapsody. I have one seedling for that, so better than none, I guess. And here we have New Dimension Blue, and you can see there's 3 seedlings for those, so that's actually really good considering my luck with Salvia. And here's another Foxglove Carousel mix. So this one will be a mix of colors. And here, look at this. This is Agastache Golden Jubilee. And I think I may have been a little bit heavy-handed sowing the seeds for some reason. I don't know, but wow, I am in for a lot. But you know what? That's actually a really, really good thing because I have a lot of beds to fill. I'm just going to let them grow a little bit more, and then I'll have to separate them and pot them up, and if I have enough pots. I might be giving some away. This here is another one that I'm growing from seed for the first time, and this one is Penstemon. So I did get some germination in there. They're just babies still, but doing good. Quite happy about that. And here we have stock way back there. I planted it way too late last year. This year I'm going to plant it nice and early. I'll probably plant it at the same time as the Snapdragons or even sooner. I'm actually thinking I might harden this one off together with my onions this week. And back there we have Gaillardia. I have a few different Gaillardia varieties, lollipop mix, double sunset. There's Mesa Peach right there in the middle. And here, Arizona Apricot. I really, really love Gaillardia. It is a workhorse in the garden for me. Even when you don't water it and you basically forget about it, it still tends to do okay in the garden beds. So that's a big plus. I didn't get the best germination here. This is Scabiosa Femme Deep Blue, and this one is a perennial. It is not the typical annual Scabiosa. So I did get 2 seedlings. And in front of that, again, not the best germination on this one, is Isaac House Blend. Then in front here, I have Feverfew, and as you can see, the White Wonder, the Tetra White Wonder, which is the double, it's gone crazy. Every seed must have germinated. The QIS White Single, not so much. And obviously, when I look at that, I'm thinking, well, that wasn't me. That was probably the seeds. So this is the perfect illustration that sometimes when we beat ourselves up about things not germinating and we're always thinking, what did we do wrong? Could we have done this, that, or the other thing? Sometimes the seed just doesn't germinate. And you know what? We did everything right. So beside that is something else I've actually never grown before, and I didn't even really know about until this year, and this is Linaria, and it sort of resembles Snapdragons. I really don't know what to expect from this one, so it's going to be interesting. And right beside it is Rocky Mountain Blue, and this is a Columbine. It's funny because I have another Rocky Mountain Blue, and I think it's a Penstemon. This one here, I do have a few seedlings, and there's a couple more just coming up there. Okay, so here, first time trying violas from seed. I went in way too late. I'll see how they work and how they do outside. I'm going to put them in a little bit of a shadier area so it doesn't get too hot, and hopefully I'll see some blooms. I guess we'll see. Next is Nepeta. Look at that. It's doing amazing. These guys also need potting up as soon as I get those 2.5-inch pots. And these are 3 different kinds. I have Grandview, I have Pink Panther, and I have Dark Blue Panther. And I mean, not bad at all. The Dark Blue Panther, what, only 3 seedlings in there, but I can work with that. This will fill up quite a lot of space. Doesn't look like it now, but Nepetas, you know, are not tiny little plants, so I'm happy with that. This here is also a Scabiosa type thing, and it's giant yellow scabious, and it's more of a wildflower, and it is a perennial. 2 germinated, 1 didn't make it, and I'm left with this one, but it looks super healthy. I did try growing this last year, and they didn't make it out to the garden. So this year, if I get 1 into the garden that actually grows, I'll be a happy camper. Next to those are Strawflowers, and they are doing pretty good. We have apricot peach and a cornucopia mix. There's 1 cell here that didn't have any germination at all, but that's okay. I have plenty of extras in the other cells. Amaranth. Again, first time growing it, and I actually just potted these up. I put in 2 seedlings per cell, and I will probably end up, depending on how big they are, thinning them to the strongest one. This one on the bottom right, I think I was a little bit rough on one of the seedlings and it didn't end up making it, so we only have 1 in that. I'm thinking next year what I may do, because it was quite tender work to separate those little seedlings, and they did come up super fast, is next year I am going to start them in the 4 cell pack and just do 2 or 3 seeds per cell. You get a ton of seeds in a packet, and then I'll just thin it out to the strongest one. Here is some more Agastache, and this one is called Bolero, and we have some nice germination in here. Now we have a bunch that are undercover because these are germinating. I'll just really quickly go through these because there's really absolutely nothing happening with these yet, or very little anyway. So in here I have Mignonette White back there that I have never grown. I've never even seen it in a garden before, but again, it's supposed to be a really good filler, so we'll see how that goes. Leprechaun Gold Columbine. This one I forgot to sow, or I got the seed late. I can't remember what the story was, but they do need stratification. And so as soon as I was able to, I put the seeds in a damp paper towel in the fridge, and I only sowed the seeds last week. And we have Coreopsis Early Sunrise. I'm not sure whether we're going to get anything on that yet. The way it works for me often is the longer something takes to germinate, the greater the chance that we're going to have a lot of algae build up on these cell packs on the surface of the soil. So it is what it is. So that one's been there a while. And this Foxglove here is milk chocolate. And this is a true perennial Foxglove. So excited. So I've been waiting and waiting. The other Foxgloves were up and going. This one, nothing. But just today, I saw a tiny little seedling, and I don't know whether I'll be able to focus in on that, but it's a tiny little seedling. Super excited about that. Here we have some Penstemon, again, wedding bells, nothing happening on that yet. And I also am trying Veronica from seed. Varieties Pink Goblin. I just sowed my lettuce yesterday, so I have these guys here. There's 4 different varieties of lettuce, and also kind of a novelty-ish kind of thing here. This is Summer Picnic, and this was from West Coast Seeds, and they are pellets, and it's not a pelleted seed. It's like each seed contains a number of different seeds in it, and then you sow it like a regular seed. Normally lettuce does require light to germinate. This one you sow 1/4 of an inch deep, and then you have a cornucopia of salad apparently from that. So I decided to try it. Here is another Agastache. This one is rose mint, and we are seeing some germination on that. There's the other Rocky Mountain Blue, and it's the other Penstemon. And again, a little bit of germination on that finally. We have 2 varieties of Agastache. We have Raspberry Daiquiri, which so far there's 1 seedling. Let's see if I can focus on that one right there. If I can zoom in, I will. And here is Sprite. There's a few seedlings in this one, so this one's doing pretty well. I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7, 8. I count 8 seedlings in there. So I'm happy with that, very happy. So here are the potatoes that I sowed the seeds for. And as you can see, I have one tiny seedling so far. Even though you're burying the seed, I did notice that the original details from, I think it's Bejo, Bejo Seeds, which I believe is the breeder that developed this, said don't use a heat mat, but put it under grow lights. So I'm not really sure because they are sown 1/4 of an inch deep, which I think is too deep for the light to hit. So I don't know. I'm kind of confused about the whole situation, but it is not on a heat mat. It is under the grow lights. It says germination should take place in 10 to 14 days, and I think it's been 10 days. And with that kind of range of germination times, I would expect a lot more than one to have come up so far. And Heuchera. I'm trying to grow Heuchera from seeds. We'll see. You can tell this one has been under the lights a very long time, but I think the germination on it is something like 30 days or even longer. So I'm just going to keep it here and see what happens. Make sure it doesn't dry out, which isn't helpful for the algae buildup, but what can you do? So here's our last shelf, and here is the other Foxglove. And yeah, see how awesome that is doing? Really, really good. So it's the perfume mix in there and the Bronze Queen. Here is Starlight Dancer, and these last year didn't do very well for me either from what I can recall. I'm gonna wait maybe another week before potting them up, and hopefully they'll catch up. I think, sow the rest of the packet because last year I also had relatively poor germination, so I just tossed all the seeds in there and all I got were 4. Back here we have another Coreopsis that a few seedlings have come up. And Calamintha, I have Marvelette Blue and Marvelette White. And that is not doing too bad. There's a couple of empty cells and a couple of cells with multiples. So, not bad. Here's another Penstemon, and it's called Mystica. And looks like some good germination on that. And here is a Vinca. It's called Mega Halo, I believe. And I just had the seeds kind of sitting around in my stash, and I've never tried it before, so I thought I would give it a go this year. Some of the edges here got a little crispy. It may have been too close to the lights for its liking, or maybe I let it dry out a little bit. I don't know. The new leaves are looking good, so it seems to have recovered okay. Here is the interesting Statice. It's the Russian Statice. So this guy here is the pink poker, and here is just the Russian Statice, like just a plain no variety name. And I think I'll be getting some good plants from it. So I have germination, I think, in all cells except that one way at the back there for the Russian Statice. So I think we're good. These also are going to have to be potted up. Look at this. Here's the celery. Remember I potted up these guys in the last video and I said, oh, I'm not really sure. I'm burying the stem because they're so floppy. I'm not really sure how that's going to go. Obviously, that went pretty good. They're looking great. Here is some more Rudbeckia. This is actually Rudbeckia from saved seed from my garden. That's why it's called Rudbeckia A and B, because I have no idea what these varieties are. I think they're just standard Rudbeckia. They were here when we moved in, and I thought I would try saving seed and sowing some. So this is the rest of the Celosia. Looking good. There's the flamingo pink, the pompous plume in the middle, and the rainbow sherbet on the end. Flamingo pink, one cell didn't get any germination, but again, I had, I think, at least, I had 2 come up in a couple of other cells, so we're still good on that. Under these takeout containers, this guy fell off. There we go. We have some Rudbeckia. And there is Indian Summer and some more Cappuccino. Again, not the best germination. I'm thinking this might be a seed issue, so maybe it's old seed as well. I'm not sure how old those seeds were. I do have some Rudbeckia that's been sitting around for a while. And good germination, though, on the Indian summer. So I'm glad to see that. And here, again, this a little bit disappointing. I think I have to fine-tune my Rudbeckia growing strategies, possibly. I don't know. So Chim Chimney and Goldilocks, I only have one seedling there for Goldilocks so far, and I have two that I can see for Chim Chimney. So, and last but not least, I have another Black-Eyed Susan, and I'm keeping this one under cover just until this seed head kind of comes off so it stays sort of nice and damp. Then I have all of the salvias. So these are 5 different varieties of salvia that I re-sowed this past week, and I am hoping that I can get some better germination. I've adjusted where I put them so they are getting a little bit of heat, but not too much. I have here the thermometer here set at 21 degrees. I think that when I first seeded them, I may have had them on one of the shelves on my old unit that generates a lot more heat than that. And I'm wondering if maybe that was the reason that they didn't come up as well. I'm not sure, but I decided I was going to try again, just I guess at least to rule out that one variable, meaning the temperature. So we'll see how that goes. I am not really an indoor plant person, and quite frankly, I'm challenged, let's put it that way, when it comes to indoor plants. Most of the time when stuff gets outside, it does brilliantly. It's almost like it's like singing hallelujah. Right? So I cannot wait to get this stuff outside and watch it all flourish, fingers crossed. Anyhow, thanks so much for joining me today. Oh, let's get a close-up of that Nicotiana that's doing so well. Thanks so much for joining me today, and we'll see you next time. Bye.